I had the thought, what would you do even if nobody paid you to do it? Like you just do it
Right.
because you love it. And I said, run my mouth.
Right. Right.
Thank you for all the gifts. Mwah. I said, run my mouth. And so it's like, okay, well, what career can you go into where you get paid to talk?
Right.
And I made a list. I could do radio, I could do television, I could be a public speaker, I could go into sales. Teachers stand before people and talk a lot. And so, of course, my dad was proud, but I was like, yeah, radio is great. I love the music. I love using my voice, but this face needs to be on television. So I went into broadcast journalism, quickly realized that I didn't want to have a long-standing career in news.
Right.
As Oprah would say, I didn't want to be the person to tell everyone the worst thing that happened today every day.
Right.
And especially after I started having kids, I just was like, the world can be scary. And to have to listen to those stories and report on those stories, it can be very emotionally exhausting.
Right.
So I stayed at home with my kids, but then I tell people every time I picked up a microphone, I was like, hey, how y'all doing? I'll be here all week. It was like that fire
Right.
for, being in this world.
Right.
It was still smoldering, even though I thought once I started having kids, I thought, well, maybe that's my purpose. Maybe my purpose is to be a mom and to raise these children and, send them off into the world. But God was like, no, I got more for you. And so went into the second leg of my career and tripped into acting by accident. Because of my broadcast journalism background, I started getting a lot of reporter auditions.
Yeah, I noticed that.
A lot of reporter auditions. I teasingly call myself America's reporter because 75% of the roles that I book are newscaster, news anchor.
I have a list here, right? That's what I was looking at this, right? And when I was looking at this, I was like, because I'm looking at your is it IBDM, right?
IMDb, yeah.
IMDb. I'm looking at that and I'm looking at, okay, she did this reporter, Black Lightning reporter.
Thank you, Bobby.
The reporter. It was like, wow. So
yeah. So that opened the door for me, and it allowed me to work my way into an industry that I had no background in. I had never taken an acting class. Acting is not something I wanted to do since I was little. It was, like I said, you know what it was? I wanted to be a entertainment news host, talk show host, game show host. I wanted to transition from news into something more fun, and I knew I needed an agent. Once I found an agent, you need a resume to get an agent, but you need an agent to find you jobs to build a resume. So it was like a dog chasing its tail. So what I ended up doing was I was an extra in everything shot in Atlanta from 2011 to 2013. Okay. I started doing local commercials, local plays. I just did anything I could to just build a resume. And so once I found an agent, I said, oh, well, I can dump this acting stuff now because my agent's going to get me a hosting job. And my agent came to me. She's like, Honda Cars wants you to audition for their commercial. Planner Peanuts wants you to audition for their commercial. Rectify wants you to audition for their TV show. And I'm like, do they know that I don't know what I'm doing? She's like, if they invite you to do it, you do it. And auditioning became where I started to hone my skill and get coached and stuff before I went to.
Right. That's what I want to ask you about that. How did you, most people, right? If they don't go to acting school, I'm always curious of how that happened. Like, what did you do to prepare for the role? Like, if because to me, I'd be very intimidated, right?
Right.
I'm very intimidated. Okay, James, there's a role for you in a show, and you're gonna play a news reporter, right? That's for me. For you,
so the news reporter stuff I can do underwater, upside down with my eyes.
So how did you learn?
That's easy. But when I would get an audition for a different type of role, knowing that I wasn't an actress and knowing that I had no training, what I would do is I would find a person in my life that closely emulated that person, and I would just pretend to be them. So I did an audition for an old lady once. Right. She was an older lady sitting on a stoop of her house, and I put on a little bandana, and I had my little clothes, and I invoked my grandmother.
Right.
My grandmother has this. She has this way of laughing and stomping her foot. She would, when something was really funny, she would slap her knee. And I did all the mannerisms that I remember my grandmother doing. If there was a ghetto girl, hold on. if there was a ghetto girl or somebody who, you know, was a little bit more outspoken, you know, I love there are people in my family, cousins and stuff that have that, you know what I'm saying, that urban hood like vernacular to them. And I would just,
Right.
oh, I remember I did an audition and my coach said, play it like a condescending Christian. And I said, oh, I grew up in the church all my life. I know a bunch of condescending Christians. And so I just would find a person that was closely related to the character and I would just, you know, mimic them.
Who were your okay, now you're into acting now, right?
Yeah.
So who were your influences
Oh, wow.
back then when you started?
When I started,
Yeah, like, what made you? I know you wanted to be an actress, but who was your influence? Who were your influences back then that kind of made you that, you know, I want to be like, I want to become famous as this
I
person?
feel like the same influences then are the ones that influence me now. I love Viola Davis. I feel like she
See
just
G20? Did you see G20 yet?
I have.
Okay.
I have to admit it's been on in the room while I've been working. So I
Okay.
feel like I need to watch it again where I can really focus. And that's a bad habit of mine. I'll turn something on and I'll be doing something else. But what I saw of it was good. And I just remember her and Denzel both captivating me. So they just gripped me
Mhm.
with fences.
Okay. I didn't see it, but I want to see it.
Oh my
We're gonna
gosh.
see it.
That's where she got the Viola Davis snot cry from because she's just in it. And that's what my acting friends and I talk about. We're just like, um, how outside of yourself do you have to be to cry and to have all of this on your face and not even have the, you know what I'm saying, have the instinct to wipe it off or to ask the team to come clean you up. You have to separate yourself,
Right.
you know, almost have an out of body experience because just naturally our instinct is to clean up, you know what I mean? But she's just like, you can't be pretty. You just have to let the emotions out. And that's a lot. Angela Bassett is another person that I really admire as far as their acting skills. Regina King, I don't know. Regina King
Yeah.
is another one. When I saw her do Shirley Chisholm,
Mm-hmm.
I literally looked at that movie and was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. I almost quit acting because Regina King was so
She was
good
so
at
good.
being Shirley Chisholm that I said, I don't know if I can embody a character like that. But of course, I don't know how to quit, so I did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just,
But you know what I'm saying? When you see somebody at the top of their game doing something so well, it's just like, will I ever be able to operate at that level? But it just takes a lot of work and a lot of training.
how do you prepare for a role as a because you've done so much, right? You've done so much. So some of these, I guess, you know, they come, you know, naturally. I guess I don't know if that's the right word in the acting business, but
Yeah.
how do you prepare for the role? With family involved and everything. How do you busy? You know, because sometimes you got to travel a lot, right? Don't you have to travel? Or did
I do. Like some of the independent films, you
yeah,
do
yeah,
have to travel. I've spent 2 weeks in
yeah.
Virginia. I spent 2 weeks in Myrtle Beach.
Right. And you
Some of
said
the
you're from California, right? You live in California right now, right?
I'm kind of bi-coastal. I spent a lot
Okay.
of time in LA, then I spent a
Okay.
lot of time on the East Coast
Okay.
too. So, and I do submit to a lot of things in LA. So, you know, it's one of those things where if the project is right, then I will. Thank you. I will spend some time out there on the West Coast for sure. How do I prepare for a role? If I book a role,
Mm-hmm.
I've already done a certain amount of script analysis for the scene that I auditioned with, but I like to have conversations with the director and see where their head is at as far as what they think about this character. I also like to read the
Right.
full script, especially if it's a movie. If it's a movie, I want to read the whole script beginning
Okay.
to end because I need to know where we start in the story, where we end in the story, what's the arc, what's the climax. And then I remember when I did my very first independent film, again, no class, no nothing, just me jumping in there. and doing what I thought needed to be done. And I played a pastor's wife. Again, I grew up in the church, so that was right up my lane. Very demure, very prudish almost. But I remember my co-star, the pastor, and we had a scene where we were laying in the bed. We weren't doing anything, but we were just laying in the bed, getting ready to go to sleep. And he had his script in the bed with him. And on the back of the script, he had all these notes. It was like 3 pages of notes.
Right.
He had given his character parents, siblings, favorite food, had given him like quirks. I'm gonna give you an example. Like on his page, he had bites his nails.
Right.
He had given him like a childhood story. He created a full human, and I thought he was crazy. I was like, this is a fake person, but you've given them all. But that's what you have to do. You have to give people a backstory. Where did they come from? How did they grow up? What are their worst fears? There's character analysis and script analysis where you ask a bunch of questions and you answer all of those questions. And even for every scene, what is the goal? What are you trying to get from that person? What's keeping you from that goal? What are you doing? Are you convincing? Are you manipulating? Are you, you have to use a lot of action verbs to describe what it is you're doing and what you want from your character. So what I say is I talk to the director, I read the entire script, and I do an intense character breakdown to give them nuances as to why they do the things that they do.
Wow, because you have a large body of work here, right?
Thank you. I'm growing. Definitely wanted to break out of that reporter.
It's really good because I was when I was looking at this, for instance, the role you played in Stepmom from Hell.
Stepmom from Hell, Terry.
Terry.
I thought I had posted her audition. She was fun. She was based on a real person. That was the funny part too.
No, this is not the one. This is the one.
That's it. Stepmom from Hell. That was fun.
If anybody's listening, please go check out Stepmom from Hell on Hulu, right? Hulu?
Yes, if you haven't seen it, check it out. I think also any type of Lifetime app.
She has a large part in that movie. And it was really good. It was really good. It was a really good movie. Yeah, it was.
All of that was based on the producer's real life. Like her father was actually a businessman who they suspect that the wife was doing things to kind of set him off. Terry was a real person who was collecting. I don't want to tell too much. Who was a real person who was his assistant. Like, that whole movie was based on real.
That's spooky. That's spooky. That's spooky because to relive it. And
the line that the mom says, "Wife trumps daughter."
Yeah.
The producer says that's something my stepmom actually said to me to my face.
Oh my God.
While my father was sick, wife trumps daughter.
Yeah, you even from your first scene, right? Your first scene. I knew you know what? I knew from the first scene I don't want to tell the story.
Right.
From the first scene, I said, "Oh, you know what? She's gonna be a problem. You're gonna be a problem in this movie."
I love that. I love when I can.
You only said a couple of words, but I said, "Oh man, she's gonna be a problem."
She ain't too. You know what my aunt picked up on? My aunt asked my dad after she saw the movie. She said, "Her fixing his collar." Remember when I walked up and I fixed his collar?
Yeah, you did his collar, right?
She said, "Was that in the script?" And I said, "No, it actually wasn't." Again, that's where that character analysis comes in. I know, even from personal experience, that businessmen and secretaries have a very close relationship.
Right.
Sometimes to the point of making the wife jealous. Because there are just some things the secretary knows, especially in the business, that the wife doesn't know. And by hanging out with or working with, a very successful man for so many years, you get to know how he likes his coffee. You get to know what he eats for lunch. You get to, you know what I'm saying? Right. You know him almost intimately.
Right.
And I don't mean that in, a romantic sense. I just mean in the fact that you're very, very close. And so that was just something that I did to kind of highlight that closeness, almost like maybe I want to be with him and I'm trying to get rid of the wife, just little subtle things that the audience might pick up on. Yeah. So she was super fun.
How did that role come about? Like, how did that happen? Explain that day. When
Explain that day. So there's a website called Actors Access
okay.
that actors can pay a membership to. And think of it as like the Indeed for the acting world, right? So there are union projects, there are non-union projects, there are commercials, theater, like any dancing. I think there's some dancing auditions on there. Industrials, now that social media is big, there's a lot of user generated content that companies want from people. And you go on and you submit a headshot, your resume, your reel, and if they want an audition from you, they will request an audition. You get instead of an email, they call it a C-mail. So you get an email in the system saying we are requesting an audition from you for this role. Wow. And along with it is a link to a part of the script, and it's usually about 2 to 3 pages. It's one scene, maybe 2 scenes, so they can get kind of a feel for how you are as that character. So I downloaded the script, did everything that I told you, did the scene analysis, did a character breakdown, and they'll give you a description of the character. They might say bubbly, they might say enthusiastic, they might say serious. They'll give you a description, but you also can add to that.
Right.
So I taped the audition, you upload it into the system, and then you wait. And if you don't hear anything back, then and that's why a lot of times when you do an audition, you have to do it and kind of put it out of your mind.
Right.
You can't sit there and harp on it because you just got to keep it moving.
Right.
So if you don't hear anything back, you didn't get it, but sometimes they'll ask for a callback. That means we like you, but we want to see more. Okay. And they might ask you to do a different scene, or they might have you on a Zoom call like this and have you do the scene over live in front of them. And on a callback, there might be the director, the writer, the producer might be on the call. So I did have a callback. I tried to adjust the scene a little bit from how I did it the first time, just give an adjustment. Because sometimes they want to see that you have range and you can do it in different ways. Right. And then I got an email saying that I booked it.
Oh, man, that was
yeah.
Something else.
Thank you. Got the script and spent 2 weeks on the beach in Myrtle Beach shooting it. It was one of the most fun sets that I've ever been on.
We had a very interesting experience today, not this week, with watching. I've always, when you go around, you see people with the big trailers, and everyone's on, on set, and you go to Manhattan, and wherever you go, you see these streets. It's a movie, right? Yeah. So they did. Robert De Niro. They're working on a movie over here. They just finished shooting over here. So they did the shooting over here in New Jersey, New Jersey, okay. And I've never seen anything like it. They made a set out of the whole area, like the park. Then they went over here to the people's homes and down the block. And I'm like trailers. I've never seen so many trailers. It was like, they took up all over.
Everybody gets a trailer. All the major players get their own space. The makeup has to have a trailer, hair, wardrobe.
Yeah, it was amazing to see that. Like, I was watching it, and it was right in the neighborhood, and I'm like, wow, like they have to do all of this. And the people setting up. I was talking to some of the guys that came in to put the cones out to block the streets off.
It takes a lot to shoot a movie.
Oh my God, there was like. And it was from Netflix. It's going to be on Netflix. It's called The Whisper Man. So.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, based on a book. So, I was so.
I'll be on the lookout.
Yeah, that was like wow. I'm glad they're gone. Like traffic. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, they can be a bit of a nuisance.
Oh, yeah, okay. It was nice. It was nice. While it lasted,
It's always cool to have people in your city because, when people are in town shooting, then they see them at different restaurants and might catch them coming out of their hotel or.
I got a picture of it. Let me see if I have it. This is for the flyer they have. Give me 1 minute. Here we go.
I've gotten to where I even recognize the signs when they have signs, the yellow signs with the arrow on it. Yeah.
That's the movie that they were working on. Yeah, so I just thought it was kind of like I just thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now I was scrolling through more, right? I was scrolling through some more, and I was like, these are some. First of all, you've appeared in some of my favorite um, movies and series.
Oh.
Queen Sugar. You know,
Oh, Queen
we
Sugar was a vision board project for me.
yeah.
Like literally had it on my vision board. And let me tell you how God works. I had it on my vision board. I booked the last season, the last 2 episodes. So I just got in there by the skin of my teeth. But when I tell you, and that's the fun of it now, like when I first started, I was like, oh, I hope I get booked. I hope I get booked. Now I'm confident enough in what I do
Right.
to where I go into an audition and say, okay, I expect to book this. Now I get excited about who do I get to meet? What project do I get to work on?
Right.
And I'll look at a list of things that are shooting in the Atlanta area and I'll go, I want that. And I'll almost manifest it. I'll think about it. I'll study it. I'll, envision myself on that set or on that show and move myself towards it. So yeah, Queen Sugar was on my vision board. I was like, I can show you posts that I've made on other social media platforms where I say, mark my words, I'll be on this show.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it happened. And what was crazy was when I got there for my fitting, I saw an empty parking spot for Ava DuVernay.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I thought she lived in LA. I said, okay, well, I guess when she is here, because it was shot in New Orleans.
Right.
I said, so when she's here, she would want a parking space right by the door, right? And so I go in and they're like, oh, wardrobe's not ready for you yet. You can have a seat. We'll call you. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like thumbing through my phone and I look up and I see somebody with a mask on and some glasses and some locks. And I go, that looks like Ava DuVernay. And I just went back to being on my phone. And she walked up. She's like, hi, I'm Ava. And I was like, I said, I didn't expect to see you today. She's like, well, I didn't expect to see you. She was like, you're a reporter, aren't you? And I said, yes. She said, well, you are so important to the telling of this story. And it was like, she's probably blowing smoke. But to hear that, I needed to hear that because a lot of times I don't feel like I'm important. I feel like, oh, I'm just a talking head. I'm just yakking to move the story forward.
You know
but
what?
she was like, go ahead.
Finish what you're saying.
She just her telling me that I was important to the overall storytelling of that episode just made me feel so good. And I told her, I said, this is a project that I've had on my vision board. And she said, well, congratulations and kill it tomorrow. And she fist bumped me. And I was like, and I didn't even start the story where I should have started it. I started that year. I pitched a whole adult temper tantrum. I said, I'm not doing no more reporter roles. I'm sick of it. Don't send them to me. I even told my agent, I was like, I'm not going to do them. Now, again, am I going to turn down a check? No. But I just wanted to show people that I could do more. And I was so frustrated. And so after meeting Ava DuVernay, I called my best friend and I heard God say, I'm trying to get people to you. Not get you to people. I'm trying to get people to you. And imagine if you had turned this role down because it was another reporter role, you would have missed your opportunity to meet Ava DuVernay. That same year, I booked A Man in Full where I got to meet Regina King. So it's like, I wanted to do things my way. God said, okay, when you finish pitching a fit, you're going to have to do it my way. Because I know the path that I have for you. I'm
saying I wish I was able to put a lot of these images. I mean, it would have taken up so much, and then it would have distracted from the conversation. That's why I didn't do it. But
it's fine. It's fine. No, but I try to tell people that story because, again, I know I'm impatient, and I know I try. When they say Jesus take the wheel, he takes the wheel, and then I'm in the passenger seat. Like, we missed our turn. We were supposed to turn back there, and Jesus is like, I know what I'm doing, and I know where I'm going, and so. I tell that story to remind people that they just really have to trust the process and they have to trust in the gifts that God has given them. That whole reporter thing is just my lane and it's what I'm good at. And I was able to work with 2 powerhouse women directors because of it. So instead of rejecting that, embrace it and allow it to.
About the role, those like that, they may be small, right? But when you're into a story, or you're into the movie, I mean, focusing on a movie, right? And that reporter comes on, and it's serious now, right? Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Sorry.
Bless you.
About that. And the reporter comes on, and they tell what's going to happen. Well, let's say a politician's going to, they brought a politician down. He's caught up in a scandal, right? they put a reporter there. This is so and so from WKT. You know what I mean? That's impressionable.
Yeah.
That moment is impressionable, and even though some people might not remember, but some people do. It's impactful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you run with that. That's sometimes it be them.
And it
Those
keeps
little
me
things.
working.
Yeah,
It keeps me
because
working.
you're
Whereas
good
other
at it.
people might only work 2 or 3 projects. I might work 5 or 6 because I'm that go-to person, you know what I'm saying, for the
Right.
reporter role, because every project needs a reporter.
This
Every
part
TV
here, I know I
show,
remember
every
this part.
movie.
This one I
Say
know I
again?
remember. This one here from Shazam. Let me put that up. I gotta get that. I remember that part. I remember that part. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like
Yeah.
you remember. Sometimes you remember. Sometimes people don't. They know they're into there's something else. But
Or
people
it's so subliminal. Like I said, I feel like it's
exactly.
going to get to a point where people look up and they go, "Oh, that's that same girl." Because you know what I mean? It's almost subliminal. If you see me in
Branding. Right? You're doing that. It's in one movie. I saw her, and then I see her before. I do that all the time. Then I see that person in a movie,
and not even just amongst consumers, but
right.
amongst people in the industry. Because my best friend made a good point when I called him. He said, "You don't think Ava DuVernay watches Regina King's projects?
Right.
You don't think Regina King watches Ava DuVernay's projects? They're probably watching it like, oh, I used Millie too.
Right.
Oh, I put Millie in my show too. Oh, you see what I'm saying? So I don't even know what rooms my name is being called in because I've worked with so many different people on it.
Right. But now this one here, I didn't get to see this one yet. My Family Killer Affairs. How did that come about? How did that one? I want to see that one.
Oh, I was like, My Family Killer Affairs. So they went by a working title. The working title was My Sister's Secrets.
Okay.
That one was another Actors Access role that I self-submitted for.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to play a hospital administrator.
Right.
And that's another thing that I noticed. I noticed that I'm a super silly girl. I love to laugh. I love to have fun. If you ever come into my live, y'all know I'm a goofball.
Right.
But the roles that I book are very authoritative. It's psychiatrist, it's teacher, principal, hospital administrator, boss that's firing somebody, tough love friend. It's something about my voice and my countenance that gives authority. Listen to her. So booked that and got to work with some great independent artists. I was the bearer of bad news, which forced me to use some different emotions and some range.
Right.
There was the subject matter involved infertility, which is something that I'm close to as well. I've worked with a couple of infertile families and helping them grow their families. Right. So I was able to pull from some personal experience and be able to have some sympathy and empathy in the character. So
I'm interested how your take on the role. Just this interest in listening to how you do that, acting is I like to talk to the people like yourself and find out, because I know people are listening. People are they want to act. You know what I mean? They want to get into the business, and it's nice to hear someone from the ground, working in there, and I am so impressed with you, because when I saw I came in your live one time. I was listening, and then I was like, and you followed me. And I thought it was nice, and then I saw your clip. I started looking at the clip you did, and I was like, you know what? Let me talk. I want to talk to you. One day I'm going to talk to you, but I didn't do it at that time. I said, let me get some more information, because because you want to, when you talk to people, you want them, you just want them to see what you're doing, not see what they do, and then you have a nice little building, you know what I mean, networking type of thing. But your catalog is so impressive,
Thank you.
You did a lot of stuff, and some, you did a lot of stuff, and You know, I wish I could. I just wish it was a situation where I could just put everything across the screen. But you know, but
No, it'll
I
force the people
encourage
to, look, as the arrogant people say, Google me.
you do exactly because it's like you got to definitely check our.
Google me. No, no, I don't.
IDBM, right? Is it
Yeah,
ID?
IMDb.
IMDb, yeah.
IMDb.
So
Yeah, it'll list everything, tell you where you can find it, tell you where you can
I was
see
looking,
it.
I was like, wow, I wish I could put all this on here because you did so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's over 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I started doing extra work in 2011.
Yeah.
Got my first speaking role in 2013. And that was another thing, like the reporter thing, my career moved a little bit faster than some people's. And also I did everything out of order.
Right, right.
So when people say, how do I get into the business? I have a document that I email people when they're looking to get into acting, because so many people have asked me. I just was like, let me just create a document and I can just email it to people when they ask me that question. Some people are like, well, you could do a workshop, and I'm like, people get sold to so much that I don't need your little $25. I'll just send you the list free of charge. But I did everything. I tell people there's a way to do things. If you want to act. You ain't got to wait to get booked. You don't have to wait to get an agent. You don't have to wait for headshots. Go find your local theater. Act in your church play. Find a group of people. Like you were asking me, how do I prepare? Sometimes just living life is preparing. You know what I'm saying? I pick up somebody at the airport and I'll people watch. And I've seen some of the most heartbreaking goodbyes at the airport. And I'm like, at some point I might be able to pull that up when I have to leave somebody in a scene. I can remember just how torn those people felt at the airport from having to leave their loved one. You know what I'm saying? Having my heart broken is you living life and interacting with learning a new skill. I don't know how to do pottery, but if I learned how to do pottery, that could be something I could pull up in a scene one day. It's just life is practice or is research for acting.
What were some of the challenges that you face, like as an aspiring, I'm not going to say aspiring actress. I'm going to say, what were some of your challenges that you face in the industry now? As you go
my biggest challenge is my own self-doubt.
Your own self-doubt.
Yeah. I'd say, especially in the beginning. Now I have a lot more confidence, but in the beginning, my biggest challenge was overcoming those things that I told myself about myself, if that makes sense. I've said it before. I grew up in the church, but some of the most spiritual experiences I've had have been pursuing my goal of being successful in entertainment, because I came in this industry, I'm too old, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not sexy enough, I don't have enough money, I don't have any training, I got too many kids, whatever. And instead of quitting, I literally had to climb over every single hurdle. Okay, you don't have a lot of money for classes. There's YouTube, there's people watching, there are free scripts online. You can turn your phone camera on and do that one monologue 3 different ways. Like, you don't need a class eventually you will. But if you don't have a class right now, there are things you can do to sharpen your skills. You're not pretty enough. Okay, you're gorgeous. You are what they're looking for because they're asking you to audition. So clearly you have a look that casting directors, are appealing to them. So I had to overcome every single hurdle and every single moment of self-doubt that I had about myself. I think now the challenge is consistent work. I was a full-time actress around 2019 to about 2021, 22. And then the strike happened. And, you know what I'm saying? And I thought, okay, well, with the strike, then my residuals will go up because people will be watching old stuff, but that didn't happen either. So it's like, then I had to pivot back to my old career. And then that career kind of went through a little shakeup. And so that's it, just consistent income, keeping yourself encouraged in those moments that you're not working, in those moments that the industry is slow. Because, the strike took something out of us as a whole, and we still haven't rebounded. We felt like once the strike was over that all the jobs would come flooding in, but that didn't happen. And then the fires in LA, they say Atlanta is slow. And so instead of sitting around waiting on Hollywood to get back on track. I think it's a beautiful time for independent artists to get out there and start doing things for themselves.
It's funny. Like I wasn't. I know about the strike, right?
Mhm.
But I speak to a lot of actors, not a lot, but a few actresses now when I do my lives here, and they all refer to the same thing. Like they go back to that time. It was a rough time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I'm glad things are kind of, you know, looking up right
Yeah.
now. The movies are made and
Yeah.
people are working, and but I love social media because social media has opened up a lot of doors for people. And some people, like you said, you know they're on TikTok and YouTube and they're doing their thing, and I take my hat off for creators because you know, guys are
You got to
moving.
get it out of us.
Yeah, no, the actors, the arts is what's moving things right now. You know,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
arts, whether it's music, whether it's acting, you know, because the two go hand in hand to me. It's all entertainment,
Yeah.
right? And you know, wow, that was a very nice thing. That was very interesting what you said.
Yeah.
Um, now, okay, well, you're doing well, right? You're doing well to me, right? You're doing well. I mean, you're a star to me. To me, you're a
Thank
star,
you.
right? So now, what happens, you know, when you're doing a role, right?
Mhm.
And then the director has some constructive criticism. How do you handle
Oh, I love to
it?
be
You love it?
directed.
You love it.
I love to be directed. I
Oh,
never claim to be the best actress.
okay.
I claim to be the most coachable
Okay.
actress.
Okay.
If you tell me how you want it, I'm gonna give it to you how you want it. And I've been on sets where, because again, I'm always the tough lady, and
Right.
so I did a show called The Inspectors on CBS.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
playing the hospital administrator, and the nurse, she was part of the scam, but she the something she did caused a hack in the hospital system, and the doctors couldn't access any of the records. And so I was just like, rah, 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 this is your fault, blah, blah, blah. And I did like a rehearsal. And the director came to my holding room. I didn't have a trailer. I had a holding room. And he was like, yeah, you don't have to be so mean. And I was like, oh, okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
Man, really?
And so I came back to set and I did a stern, but not so mean. I did a stern take like twice in a row.
Right.
So the director was like, okay, okay, okay. And he came to me and he said, think about your patients. And I was like, oh, the patients. Oh my God. And he said, action. And I was like, I have doctors who need these records. And he was like, that's the one. You see what I'm saying? Because it wasn't so much about berating her
Right.
as it was, I'm responsible for these sick people in this hospital and I need to get them, you know what I mean? And all he had to do was remind me
Right.
that instead of beating her up, have compassion for your patients.
Right. Right.
And that softened my whole performance.
Wow.
And the actor that I was playing opposite, he was an established actor. He's been in Army Wives. He was in what was it? He's been in shows with Kevin. Like he's been in all types of things, right? And after I did that take, he looked at me and he said, "Great adjustment." And I was like, "Thank you." So you know, I love being directed because it allows me to show that I can follow directions. It allows me to satisfy the director and what they're looking for.
Right.
So I welcome it with open arms. Just tell me what you want me to do.
So with that was an interesting story. I love that story. So now there's so many women in acting, right?
Yeah,
It's competitive.
it is.
So how do you deal with the competitiveness? I mean, whew, I don't know. There's a lot of good actresses.
There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. And sometimes I started booking so fast that I sometimes would take for granted how many people are in this industry
Right.
until I go to an industry event, like a networking event.
Right.
And they ask how many people in here are looking for an agent, and like 300 people will raise their hands. I go, oh my goodness.
Really?
Then they talk, yeah, and then they'll talk about people moving from LA to Atlanta just for an opportunity to audition, because you don't get opportunities in LA the way you get them in Atlanta, because that market is so competitive. It's getting a lot more competitive in Atlanta as well, but I was kind of there as it was growing.
Right.
And so how I deal with the competition is I know for a fact that I have a uniqueness to offer, that you can give 3 different actresses the same script and come out with 3 different performances.
Right.
They're all good. And I realized that when I was going to be a part of an independent project, and I was going to play a boss. Again, I was going to play a boss who was hiring a young lady. So because I was such a lead character, they wanted me to help them cast the young lady.
Right.
They just wanted my input, like chemistry. And so we auditioned 3 young ladies, and they were all great. They all could play the role.
Right.
But I said, it's just, what do you want? I said, the one girl, she looked so innocent that you would never believe that she would steal money.
Right.
So that might be what you're going for. Like, flip the script.
Right.
I said, one girl, she's just so pretty that you'll just believe anything she says.
Right.
There's another, each of them had their, one of them looked a little sinister. So it played the opposite. Like, you know what I mean? Her playing a good girl in the beginning, you looking at her like, yeah, something ain't right. So all 3 of them were great actresses. All 3 of them could play the role. It's just, what energy do you want for your project? And so that's how I deal with the competition. I know I have something unique to offer. And it's not that I'm not a good actress. It has nothing to do with my talent if they don't choose me. It's just they were going with a different vibe. And when my time comes, my time comes. There is not an opportunity that's mine that I'll miss.
I just think it just looks like it's like all right. You know what I like about what's going on right now?
What's that?
With the movie industry and TV and actors and actresses. When we were younger, my time, right? All we had was ABC, CBS, and NBC 11, Channel 11, right? That's it. That was it. And everyone had to.
Then Fox came along later on.
You may have some movies.
Yeah.
But now there's so many platforms, and you can create your own now. You can do so much, you know what I mean? And I mean, every channel, WB, is it the WB? Yeah. Is there still the WB? Is it?
WB is around anymore.
There's no more, right? But what is the other one that comes on?
There was WB, UPN, CW. There was a bunch of.
Then now they have somebody. You have Amazon, right? You have Amazon Prime. You have Peacock. You have the Roku TV. It's
Freebie, Philo, yeah,
on channels, and it's like, it's so much to do. Like so much for actors and actresses to do. Not saying everyone's going to make a whole lot of money, but I'm loving what I'm seeing right now. The Tubi TV has some wonderful movies on there, right?
Yes.
Wonderful actors and actresses, and I'm like, wow, it's like what everyone has done. They carved out a nice path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be big. It's already big to me. It's already big to me because I always go back to saying how hip hop started. In my day, the rappers were that they didn't understand how big the business was going to be. Right?
Yes.
Everyone, it was just a craft.
Yes. Self-expression.
Self-expression. But now there's an opportunity for actresses right now, actors and actresses, movie direct producers, and indie filmmakers. There's a lane for you, and you can take this 10 years from now. You can kind of
you'll own it because you won't be reliant on those big studios. It'll be
the money is there, right? People will spend the money, right? We know that, right? Fans are going to spend money on a good. Now we know especially with the movie that's out now with Sinners, like we're going to spend it. Look, it's a good movie. We're going to go and we'll get 3 times, right? We know. So, but what I like about what I'm seeing right now, I am so impressed right now with the acting and actor business or the film industry business right now, because there's so many people that's taking their camera and they're doing some shots that look like they spent, like a big movie production did, but they just understand the craftsmanship, the photography, the cinematography. So I support indie artists. I support people like you, and I really am, impressed. It's one other question I wanted to ask you, and I wanted to ask you about. Oh, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Ooh. Who I really want a TV family. I want a series regular role where I'm on set at least once a week. You know what I think of? I think of those series finale episodes shot in front of a studio audience where everybody comes out, they're in tears, they're hugging, they give a bow. When Fresh Prince ended, when Cosby Show ended, when Different World ended. And I hate to talk about the ending because it's so emotional, but like you're with these people day in and they're like your second family. And then I was watching a documentary about child stars. They were like, I saw my TV family more than I saw my actual family. But I do want that camaraderie. I see
Oh, right.
the people from Insecure, Issa Rae and Jay Ellis and all of them, and every time they get together they just have such a great time because they formed that bond while shooting Insecure. I want a TV family. So in 5 years, I will have a series regular role, hopefully a lead role on a series, and be working on some of my personal stuff as well.
Good. I think, like, when you said touched on something, right? You touched on something about the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
When it's time to, like, Martin Lawrence, that show, that one did it for me. That what that when the end of the
We'll have you snotting and crying.
no, I was a club in New York called Bentley's. I think it was Bentley's. If it wasn't Bentley's, I forgot what it was. I think it was Bentley's, and I think it was Bentley's. Oh, if it wasn't Bentley's, it was another club. But I remember the last episode of the Cosby Show. And we were supposed to be dancing, right? It was a dance club.
Right.
We were supposed to be dancing. And then everyone's inside the room watching the last episode of the
That's history.
It was amazing. And I guess that's what I look for when I watch movies, right? Because even now sometimes as I promote a lot of people's movies now, like I send them out. But then some people always send me movies to, like, not all the time, but they say, "Can you check this movie out for me? Tell me what you think." There's one I gotta see. I told the person, and I was gonna see the movie, and they sent me back something saying, "Well, what do you think?" And I didn't see it, and I felt so bad because I got caught up with everything this weekend. But I made a commitment that if not tonight, tomorrow, I'm gonna watch the movie. It's a good movie too. I forgot the name of the movie.
Shout it out. I'm always on the hunt for good stuff.
Yeah, this one here, I don't know. I gotta check it out. It looks like it's gonna be good. It's just give me 1 minute. I got it right here. Because I sent him a text message and said I would definitely check out your movie. Oh, you know what? Let me email it. Here it is. It's a movie called She Taught Love. She Taught Love.
She Taught Love.
She Taught Love. That's the movie. It's on Hulu, I believe.
I feel like I've seen it in my search for something to watch. I feel like I've seen that. I've seen that.
I said I would check the movie out because I said I would check it out and then I'll let you know what it's like. But I thought it was kind of cool that the person reached out and then I said, can you check the movie out? And I said it's on Hulu. I think it is on Hulu. So now I think about it, it's on Hulu.
What I've started doing,
it's not Hulu, it's Peacock. It's one of the two.
Peacock, okay. I think it's Hulu because I've seen that title card come up in my search for something to watch. What I've started doing is going back because, again, acting is something that I just started to really study.
Right.
In like I said, 2013. 2016 is when I really, really, really got serious. Yeah. So what I started doing is I'm going back watching older movies.
Yeah.
From an acting lens as opposed to a consumer lens. And I just recently watched Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I heard of it, but I never saw it. But
it's a great movie. And it addresses so many different things.
Right.
And I watched My Cousin Vinny for the first time last year.
That's the first time you seen My Cousin Vinny?
And I cussed all my friends out because I was like, this movie is hilarious. Why didn't y'all tell me? I was like, Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei both deserve their Oscars for this movie. I thought that movie was about something completely different.
Yeah.
But I was, it was Saturday. I was cleaning up and I was folding clothes. And I was like, I've never seen My Cousin Vinny. I said, let me put it on. Hilarious. It was hilarious. So I'm having fun rediscovering older movies from a different point of view.
It's nice. It's nice to look at movies. I want to watch that one tonight because my son didn't have baseball today. So good. Relax. You know what I mean? I want to prepare for this interview as well because this is an important one for me. And so, what's coming up next? What's up next for you?
Well, I just had an audition for a show on Netflix today. So fingers, toes, everything crossed. I was a part of, I don't even know if I can say it. I was a part of a movie.
Don't say the title or anything, no. Because
I'm not sure my scenes made it. And that's another, downside to this industry. You can work on a project and hit the cutting room floor. And that's just, a part of what it is, but you're still thankful for those opportunities because I feel like everything is a seed planted. Everything is a seed planted. Every audition, every meeting, every project I work on is a seed planted because this is such, everything is, but this is a such who you know and who knows you type industry that you don't know what opportunities will come along. I'll even say this. Ryan Coogler just did Sinners. He's about to do X-Files because someone mentioned his name. Someone said, who would be good for this? Ryan Coogler. You see what I'm saying? And so when people know you and remember you, that's why, again, even when I don't get a role, I'm sure at some point someone's going to say, remember that Millie girl that we saw? What's she doing? She'd be great for this. You see, and I've heard it and I've seen it where people, won't get this role, but they'll write a role for them. Or you're not good for this, but we'd love to put you in that. So, auditioned for a series, worked on a movie, but I'm not sure my scenes made it. So we just continue to train and we continue to audition.
The fact that you're going on interviews auditions, right? You're in it. You're in the mix, right? So
it's a blessing to get an audition request.
Exactly. It's a lot.
That means they want to see you. And I'm not gonna be long, I promise. But
I'm good. This Friday night, I'm good.
You like, this is what I do.
I could. This is what I do. So
there was there was a show. Oh God, please forgive me. There's so many different things. I forgot the name of it, but there was a show. It was a vampire show on Netflix, and I got the audition, and I read the script, and as soon as I read it, I said, "This was written for a white Southern belle."
Okay.
And even my taping agency, I go into a studio and I tape my auditions with a taping agency. And even they admitted, they were like, yeah, most of the people that we've seen come in here for this role have been young, white, and blonde.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm not young or white. I'm right, and I'm a fake blonde. So, so I said, well, why would they ask me to do this? And then I've always also had auditions that were like broad. Like the description would say broad. I'm a very petite girl. I'm 5'5", 120 pounds, soaking wet. Right. Why would you ask me to audition for a role if the description says broad? You see what I'm saying? Right. But to me, those are the special ones because even though I don't fit the description, you still want to see what I do. Right. You see what I'm saying? And that's what they call the wild card. Right. Because I might show them something that they didn't know they needed. Right. I might show them something different than what they're used to. Right. And so for 90% of the people that audition for a role be white, blue-eyed, and blonde hair, and then they say, well, we want you to see Millie too. Right. That is a compliment to me because that means you want to see what I do on screen with these words. Right, right. So I'm thankful for every audition. I told my agency, I said, listen, it could say 60-year-old bald white man. I'm still going to do the audition. Right.
right.
But I'm gonna give them me. I'm not gonna give them 60 because I'm not a 60-year-old bald white man. But I'm going to give them me. And that goes back to what I was saying about knowing that I have a unique thing to offer. Yeah.
How many movies have you played in this series? Because I'm counting. I counted up to 20, and I said, I'm going to say that
No,
you
no,
played in
no, no,
over
no.
20.
I've never counted. I just, when people say, well, what have you been in? Because I'm
You
not
have a
famous.
reel, you have one of those reels with all of this, like,
I do. I
yeah,
have a 5-minute reel with like
yeah,
everything, and then I have a 1-minute reel, and then I have
yeah,
a separate reel because I do so much reporter stuff. I
yeah.
have an acting reel and I have a reporter reel.
Yeah, okay.
And so sometimes when people just want to see what I do as a reporter, we'll just send them that.
Let's send them that. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's
Wow.
it's fun. And I feel like going back to what I was saying about this journey being spiritual,
Yeah.
I'm a living, breathing example of the scripture. God can do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or think. Because I didn't ask to be an actress, and I would have never thought. Like if somebody had told me in 2010,
Mhm.
you're going to be acting in 5 years, I would have fallen on the ground and rolled around laughing. Man, shut up. But it just evolved into this thing that I absolutely love. And so I'm just thankful for the opportunity to show what I can do and to meet people and to learn about human nature through.
Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm here if you like, in terms of like I like to promote. So whatever you have, let me have it, and then I'll promote.
Absolutely.
I love.
Absolutely.
I meant to do a post tonight on because I have some other filmmakers and they have movies coming out. I wanted to do something tonight, but I got caught up with things today, so I didn't. When I don't get my post
Life
in on Friday,
happens, but there's always tomorrow,
yeah, when I don't get my post in on Friday, it's like I didn't do my homework in school.
No, I get it. I get it.
Sounds
Because I had a
good.
meeting at 4 and I was like,
Yeah.
my kids are in town and we out having a good time. I ain't gonna make it.
But I'll get it together. It'll be tomorrow's a new day. Then there's a big party on the block. Someone gonna shut down the block for a birthday party. So that's gonna be
That's fun.
they shut down the whole block. I was like, wow, okay, that's nice.
I love it. I'll be right in the middle of the block. They'll be like, who is that? That's Millie.
I gotta go to that tomorrow. So I gotta get it's so because I know so many people doing so many things. So I do the best I could do to get the stuff out. You know what I mean? Because that's the one thing that without me knowing this, my company is now turning into a media company, right? And that which is like because it's leaning that way. I'm going to have to start something else for that media part. But while I'm doing this, it's becoming. I am so. When you think of something all day of how to improve something, all I think about is how to improve marketing people and coming up with ideas.
That's a talent.
Yeah, to try to get them, because to get them more organic, creative, more, and I don't like the word creative, but more organic fans.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people, once I want people not just to, from different countries, like just look at your work and then they go away. I want people. If I'm going to deal with followers, right? I want people. That's why all my followers are all handpicked people. 90% of them are right. All handpicked. I follow. I communicate.
You're intentional. You're very intentional.
Because it's going to go far, right? And I want them to support the people that
Yes.
if I'm going to do
I
it.
tell my clients that all the time because I work in digital marketing, and I tell people all the time, you'd rather have 1,000
right
core loyal customers that are going to consume whatever it is you have, buy your products, utilize your service, and tell other people about it as well, than to have 1 million people who follow you but just watch your videos and never buy.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about, and that's why I say it's funny. I get stuff all day from people, or they may have a post. I may comment. They know me. I know them, and it's nice. That's a nice feeling when people know you, when you know them, and they send you something. And out of the blue, I had an artist last month come in. We interviewed her I think it was early this year, and she's from London. Her name is Lily Head. So she comes in and first thing she texts me, James, we're going to be in New York I need to come to the radio station. So we have a radio show that we do on Saturdays, which actually tomorrow too. We do Saturdays from 1 to 2. I'll definitely let you know about that too, because all the fans will love you up there. That Buffalo, New York, they're like, that's a whole nother following up there. They have my cousin's is the DJ, right?
Okay.
And we have and there's DJ Desire. We call it the gospel party, but when we look we look for gospel, not just gospel music, but it's gospel of what you just told me. That's gospel to us, right?
Yes.
Because people are listening, right?
Yes.
They're listening to what grows and what can help them. And
Absolutely.
we had a young lady up there, Lydia Caesar, and we're on the radio, and some kid calls in. And the kid says, "I love you," to her. "I love what you're doing." Like, because she does a lot of skits, skits on her music. And the kid loved it. And you have their parents in the background. And it was a nice feeling to see that, that people listen, they're organic. And that's why I like to do what I do, because that's important, because promoting and marketing people like yourself, it's something that I see sometimes when I see people doing their art. Some people are just creative. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a creator like that. Music. I'm not really. I'm not that type of person. But what I like to do is at a hand in helping people get their stuff out there to meet more people. Just like a little show like today. Just today, look, 2.3. Likes.
1,000 hearts. Yeah.
Some people have more, but you never know who's on the other end of that. And even if 10 people come out of it, if 10 people tend to,
they say put out the content, whether it's a song, whether it's a movie, whether it's a skit. Because I sat on a lot of stuff for a long time. I think you've seen my little goofy news program on my
Blue Plus Flame said, "Yeah, I agree with 1,000." Right.
Yeah. He was agreeing with the fact that it's better to have that 1,000 core people than to have 1 million people who are doing nothing. And but definitely, and then it also builds trust. If people know you're only promoting good people, good content, good projects, they know to come to you for that resource, as opposed to, oh, I'm just pumping out anybody who reaches out to me, I'm gonna suggest their stuff. And it's just like, then you watch the movie and like, that was trash. Or you listen to the music like, that wasn't really good.
It's an importance to have a solidified team for all that. Exactly.
Yeah, but just put the content out there, because like we were saying, you never know who's watching, and you never know that one person that can take your brand or your music or your project to the next level. So that's why I said I feel like every interaction is a seed planted.
Right.
And I just don't know who's going to water it. I don't know who's going to fertilize it. I don't know when it's going to grow.
Right.
But making all those connections, I'll see the bigger picture.
And that's what I like to do with him. Just if I see something I like, I'll even send him a note. "This is James. This is what I do." And they say, "Oh, wow, I like that." Then we disconnect, and then I send their stuff out. And now people know them, and everybody knows everybody. Everybody's in the same group, right? It said,
right.
You may not be interested in music, but you may be interested in acting, right? You may not be interested in acting. You may be interested in music. Then the DJs, I'm looking at the DJs that come on all the time. Okay, I like this guy. Even
if you look at like actors and comedians and musicians, I call them classes. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like the senior class and the junior class, because Samuel L. and Spike Lee, they went to school together. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these people, they worked together, they studied together, they did independent projects together, and they climbed. And so when I look at my friends who are musicians and I look at my friends who are actors, I'm just like, we're the next class. Yeah. We're coming up, and we'll all be at those, award shows together.
But keep doing what you're doing. Just don't stop. I know it gets like, just continue, be positive, posting like you've been doing.
Thank you.
And then, stay in touch. I definitely, whatever you have coming up, like movies, whatever you want to, send it out on TikTok or whatever. I'll share it.
I might have a couple interviews that I want you to do. A few of my friends do music, and they are amazingly talented. I really want to promote.
I love it. Let me know. Let them bring them on. And let me know. And I think, send me some information on them. I'll, get a flyer going and
Yeah, I'll send you links so you can listen
yeah,
for yourself and see if
yeah,
that's the vibe for your audience. But two amazingly talented artists, and that's another thing about building that core audience. I thank my people who support me and people who follow me on social media and people who send me encouraging messages, because
right,
I tell my friends and people that I've met through social media, you just never know. Sometimes I'm in the bed like, you know what, forget it. Just go get a 9 to 5, go
right,
sit at a desk,
right,
go make your regular check,
right,
and forget all these dreams of being, in
right,
TV and on movies,
right.
because it's hard. It will wear at your self-esteem if you
Yeah,
get told no 200 times
right,
in a
right,
row, or
right,
if you haven't worked in 12 months. You see what I'm saying? You'll start to wonder if this is even for you. So for someone to even send me a little note saying, you're doing a great job, I saw you on Lifetime last night,
right,
oh, you look like Whitney Houston, like whatever the little note is, oh,
right,
Boomerang is on, you
right,
look like, you remind me of Robin Gibbs. Like, you just
right.
don't know what little encouragement really will help a person, especially a creative, make it to that next um make it to that next moment and give them that encouragement that they need to keep going. So
Right.
definitely appreciate everyone, because I tell people I'm no less dope now at
Mhm.
1,200 followers than I will be at 1,000,000 followers.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just more people will know me, but I'm just as dope today.
I mean, if I ever get that many followers, I have to hire a team. I would have to groom a team that would handle the social media the way I kind of like them to do. I mean, I was kind of like, what I mean? You got to manage that because now I mean, that's the way I think. You know what I mean? It's like you need for you 1,000,000 people. That's like, okay, that's 5 people I would need to kind of like, okay, you manage because people are responding to you. Just what I had to learn. People respond to you. People respond to me all day on like comments, and I may send
Yeah,
a post out. I get comments, and
I can imagine.
yeah, it's like
I can
weird.
imagine.
It's weird, but it's fun, and I'm happy for it. I'm really happy for it.
I'm glad. I'm
So,
happy for you.
how do people find you?
So I am on every single social media platform except for Elon Musk's.
Okay,
I don't do that one,
okay,
but I'm on the Clock app, which we are here now. I'm on the Picture app. I'm on the Book. I'm on
okay. Oh my
I'm
God.
on Bigo, and they're all under the same
Okay,
name, at In the Mood ENT. That
okay.
is In the Mood Entertainment.
That's wonderful. It was a wonderful time.
I have enjoyed you.
We
Thank you
were
so
on here
much for
so
letting me.
like almost an hour and 20 minutes.
I'm a little long-winded. Sorry about that.
No, no, it's cool. It's cool because it's cool. They just send you the thing whenever they send you this some kind of.
Oh, they're like,
I
congratulations,
gotta,
you've been on
okay,
for
all
90
right.
minutes.
But it's that they just letting you know that it's gonna go off in 5 minutes if you don't do this. So I just hit it, and then now we got more time, so I'm good. So I really enjoyed this.
I appreciate you and all your kind words, because, like I said, the industry has slowed down and you just kind of wonder. And so for someone to say, I believe in what you're doing enough to
No,
talk to me about it.
yeah, I was looking at this. I got you can't see it. I don't know if you can see it, but I got where's my camera? I don't even know my camera is here. See what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
looking at this I'm looking at this Reasonable Doubt. That's the one with Morris Chestnut was on that one, right?
Yeah.
I mean this name.
I almost had Morris Chestnut's body on mine. Child, listen. You talk about disappointment.
Oh my.
Woo. But again, they wanted a different vibe. So I just and here's the thing. There are certain pivotal moments in
Right.
my career. Like I always say, like booking Atlanta
Right.
with Donald Glover
Right.
was a career changing moment.
Okay.
But there are also pivotal moments that are teaching moments, and
Right.
not getting that role to play Morris Chestnut's love interest.
Yeah.
I've auditioned for 3 different shows to play Morris Chestnut's love interest. I'm
Right.
coming for Morris.
Right. Right.
It's gonna happen. But like I got literally down to me and one other girl.
Right.
Me and one other girl.
Mhm.
And the other girl got it. Those are the heartbreakers. Those are the ones that will make you want to turn away from this
Oh
career.
my God.
Because
Really?
not only do you want to showcase what you can do, you want to work with I watched Morris Chestnut as Ricky in Boys in the Hood, and now he's my co-star. Like those are the things that'll blow your mind, right? So not only do I get to work with someone who's an OG in the business, that check, baby, sometimes you need the money too. And so for those kinds of things not to come through, it will really make you just throw up your hands and say, forget it. And so again, I have a very strong support system who always helps me see, the bright side of everything. And I ended up booking the show in another role. But yeah, it's
no.
hey.
That's awesome.
But it was fun. It was
meeting things here. Young Rock, my son loves that show.
Yeah.
That was a classic. That's you know what I mean? You're in a lot of stuff here. The Secrets on Sorority Row.
Secrets on Sorority Row. That's a Lifetime movie.
We Cobra Kai. My son and I watched that all the time.
Season 3.
What episode was that?
Season 3, episode 1. Remember, Cobra Kai used to be on YouTube Red.
Okay.
And then they transitioned over to Netflix.
Okay.
My episode was the first episode that aired on Netflix, and it aired like January 1st.
Okay.
I didn't realize how many people were fans of that show until my phone started blowing up. I had high school classmates. I had people I hadn't talked to in years texting my phone like, I just saw you on Cobra Kai. I was like,
season 3, episode 1. I'm gonna look at it.
I believe it's season 3. Season 3, episode 1.
My son,
it's a great show.
He doesn't stop with it. He doesn't stop.
And that generation, like my children love it too. And it's a great bridge between the original Karate Kid and the children.
We're gonna go see the movie. He definitely wants to see the movie now. Ralph Macchio. What's his name? What is his name again?
Ralph Macchio.
Ralph Macchio's in it. The Jackie Chan's in it. Now the new kid. So they done bridged the whole 3 generations.
3 generations. Yeah.
The little kids want to go now. Now the babies want to go. Now see the little one. So that's brilliant. I love it. That's why I said I love what they do with movies. And my son is really getting us back into the the movies, because this is all he does. He sits around. He's into wrestling now. He's a wrestler.
Yeah.
So now we got to go to wrestling matches and those 5-hour. God. We have to do that stuff, but we have to do Vanished. That was awesome. Atlanta, you playing some stuff here. Black Lightning. I never saw that series, but it's a superhero, right?
Yes.
Superhero, yeah.
Black Lightning is part of the DC universe. Yeah.
Hunger Games. I'm telling you, you did some stuff.
Yeah, Hunger Games was interesting too, because I was an extra, so I didn't have a speaking role. Right. But Jennifer. Oh gosh, I don't know why my brain is escaping me right now. But the Katniss, the young lady who plays Katniss, Aberdeen. I really didn't have a lot of respect for her at first, because I was like, oh, she's just famous because she's pretty, right? And so I'm an extra on this set, and I see her perform this monologue, and she brings herself to tears like 10 times. They have to do the wide shot. They have to do the medium shot. They do the close up on her face. They do the over the shoulder. You know what I mean? Like they have to do the same scene so many different times. And she brought herself to tears every single time. And I was like, that girl is good. You know what I mean? And I said, I know this is not physical labor.
Right.
But she's going to go back to her trailer and have a good nap because she's emotionally drained.
Right.
Just pouring herself out like that. And that gave me a brand new perspective on her as an actress, but also just, the craft of acting.
Yeah, and Honk for Jesus, that's a comedy, right?
Honk for Jesus is a comedy. It's a satirical movie with Sterling K. Brown and Regina Hall. They weren't even on that project when I got booked. Okay. So when I booked it, it was still very independent. And I think they were still raising money.
Right.
When they got Jordan Peele on board as a producer, they had a bigger budget and was able to hire Sterling K. Because I remember when my agent called me, she was like, they added Sterling K and Regina to this project. And I was like, yay. Because again, I get excited about who I get to meet. And Regina Hall was on set the day that I was, but she was getting her makeup and stuff done, so I didn't want to interrupt that. And I did get to meet Sterling K at the premiere in Atlanta. And there's some pictures on my social media of all of that.
One last one here.
Mhm. Samaritan. So Samaritan, I did not get to meet Sylvester Stallone.
I was going to ask
I was
you.
leaving and he was coming and he was talking to someone when I was leaving and I didn't want to interrupt his conversation. But to even just shake Sylvester Stallone's hand would have made my day. Because again, OG, grew up watching him, just crazy business. But again, another reporter wrong. What I loved about that one was, again, direction, right? So a lot of times in movies, they do camera angles and they, do the movie magic to make a small group of people look like a big group of people.
Right.
So we had to pretend like we were this big crowd of reporters going to ask this little boy a question. Right. But there was really only two of us as reporters and two of us as like two photographers. Right. But we had to scurry like it was a bunch of us. And we just weren't looking hurried enough for the director. So the director looks at me. No, he looks at the background actress and he says, stand on her mark. So, when you are shooting a movie, they put, little marks on the ground for where you're supposed to stand for the lighting and for the camera shot. Right. So they had my mark and he told the extra, he said, when you guys run up, stand on her mark. And then he looks at me, he said, it's your job to get her off your mark. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's all you got to say. And he turned around and he said, watch this, y'all. Action. And we ran and she stood on my mark and I bumped her out of the way and I delivered my line. Right. And so him just making that one little adjustment got him the little tussle that he needed to see on camera. So again, it is a good director's job to know how to get the best out of his actors.
Good. Good. Excuse me. Excuse me. Hello, scared there. 1 second.
Grab some water if you need it.
I don't have any. I don't have any here, but excuse me for 1 second, right? Wow, that's better. Sometimes when you're doing this stuff, sometimes it's like, wow. But anyway, so where do we see you? What's next for you now in terms of
well, I'm just doing my content.
But it's just pretty much what's next in terms of like I know you have auditions coming up, you have those type of things, but where can people find you? Where can they find you and keep in touch with you? Or
so like I said, it's In the Mood ENT on all the platforms. If you just need to send me an email, that's inthemoodent@gmail.com. If you email me and you need some advice on acting or you need my list of reputable agents and photographers and resources in Atlanta, I can send that. I'm online doing more content. So, anybody who's watching, listening, I would love
to ask you about too. You have this show that comes on that you do every week, right? That you try to do every week, let people know about that. That's interesting. It's fun. It's fun.
So it's not a new idea. I am a professional thief is what I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. So it's not a new idea. There's the Daily Show. There's the Weekend Update on SNL. There's This Week, tonight with James Oliver. So satirical news programs aren't new, but I was looking for a way to use my journalism background and my presence as a news anchor in a way that would be fun and funny. And it started with, I was in Atlanta and there was some goats loose in Buckhead.
Right.
And the goats were in the street. They were causing traffic jams. They were eating grass. They were everywhere. And I was like, there's a joke here. I don't know what it is because I'm not a comedian, but there's a joke here. Right. And so I reached out to a bunch of comedians and everybody was busy or didn't return my call or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to jump out and do it on my own. So I had the idea of doing WTFU news. It started as just Atlanta, but because it's a world wide web that I'm on, I'm like, well, let me do stories from everywhere. And now I have people sending me stories in my DMs, people asking, what's Laura going to talk about this week? This week is going to be short because it's Mother's Day and I don't have a lot of time to produce, but it's just my way of saying the things that I might want to say, but I get to say them through a character, have a lot of fun, engage the audience, and just have a funny point of view to what different things are going on in the world. Because like I said, in traditional news, things are so heavy. But this is a way for me to take the news and make light of it and have a lot of fun.
Keep doing it. Keep on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because what happens, keep going. Whatever you do, acting, keep that going.
I'm writing a book, so I'll be doing some story times as far as like so I'm writing a book, and the book is about the lessons that I've learned in love and relationships. And so soon I'm going to do story times where I have tell different stories about, things that I went through in my relationships. And again, hopefully those stories will help other people who are dealing with the same sorts of things. So yeah, what's next for me is I'm still auditioning and I'm still going to book those roles, but I'm really putting myself out there a little bit more as far as content creation.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. This was fun.
It was.
We gotta do it again. This is fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and I appreciate it. And I'll get this information to you.
I appreciate you.
And
enjoy your night.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'm just gonna go ahead and chill out, watch that movie tonight. I want to catch up. We got to go to now. I have your list of movies here. So I got to catch up on some of these here. I got to do that.
Take your time. Take your time.
That's fun. But let me know, again, anything coming up, let me know.
For sure. When I release my book, I'll definitely want to do another interview.
Yeah, and I will introduce you to someone also that helps. She helps. She's one of the biggest companies on Roku in terms of she does music videos and all that stuff. But she also helps out authors.
Okay, I definitely
interview and then help you get. I just like I said, I have a group of people I align with.
Yes.
That that's what we're trying to build. We're trying to build an a place where people can come and sometimes people are stuck.
Yeah, you're like the Clarence Avant, like you're the connector.
I love that man.
You're the connector. Yeah.
I'm trying to, I've been doing this for years, but didn't know, I've been trying to do it with, when Facebook came out, because I did something. I was back then. I had managed artists 25 years ago, and I was managing artists, and I never forget this artist what he did. When I used to shop music for people to record labels, right? Mm-hmm. So I shopped this. We did everything by mail. You had to do it by mail. There was no, wasn't no.
Right.
It was by mail. Even though people think that 2000 is current, it's not. It's not as current as now, right? People think, I
didn't even have a cell phone in 2000.
Because 2000, Facebook just came out. Right.
Yeah.
So before that, we had smaller,
Facebook was restricted to college students only for a number of years.
They didn't take social media as serious as they do now, right? Because Facebook was a phenomenon, right? A phenomenon. But before
Facebook was still college only up until 2005. Yeah.
So then, what happened was the artist. We got a rejection letter. It was from, I'll never forget, it was from J Records. We got a rejection. And he had the rejection, right? He sent me the rejection letter. I mean, I thought, I don't know I don't know what I did with mine, but he had the rejection letter. He got his copy. And he showed it to me 3 years ago, right? And I said to myself, man, it was even though it was a rejection letter, but it was a nice letter from the A&R, letting them know why, and this is how it was, right? So now, I try to help people, right? It's I don't like to reject. I don't reject anybody. If I can, I like to try to help people with the little that I know,
right?
Not with the little that you know. So that's why I said I'll start my company and I'll do my thing, and I'll learn along the way from people that have more experience than I have, which is, we have music. We work with a person that will help people that got the music videos out there, um, um, international, internationally. Because I
Mhm.
kind of know people. We work together. We try to build a group where we can send people to, you know, to push them further. Because sometimes it's like with musicians, they make a video. Sometimes they can put it on YouTube, right? But we want something more.
Right.
We want a further reach. So that's what I try to do. I come up with the further reach.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
That's needed.
Yeah,
That's
it's needed.
because
You know,
all that artist needs is the right type of
yeah,
exposure.
it's just something.
And even certain songs that go viral on TikTok, like there was that one song that went viral on TikTok. That song was like 7 years old.
Yeah,
So we just don't even know when something's gonna take
we
off.
don't know when it's going to take off. I think these records. I do cover songs with these artists. There's that was they're still getting streamed. You just got to chill because it may not hit right now. That's what I had to learn. Things don't hit. So it doesn't hit when you want it to hit all the time, right? It could just be I don't know. Someone could come up with a hook, right? Or somebody like Francie, somebody can get on TikTok and just come up with a
Yeah.
hook of something or some kind of joke,
Hmm.
right? And the song that the the person from 1970s or whatever that song they made might be the song, for the hook,
Right.
and it's a smash hit again. So
Again.
so that's why I don't social media once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah.
Once it's out there, it's out there. You don't know what I don't know. It's the stuff that I send out. I don't know where it's going, but I get comments on posts I made 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
still getting so
And I always think back to what Prince said. Prince says the work is good when it's created.
right.
And I tell anybody who's a creative, any musician, singer, artist, actor, like I tell them that because sometimes in this world of social media, we seek validation in the form of likes and shares and, views and all of that. And we feel like that justifies the work. No, the work is good when it's created, whether one person likes it, no people like it, a million people like it. The work is good because it was in your heart to create and you created it.
Exactly.
And so that's what I've had to take with me in different projects that I've wanted to do, even with like fundraisers that I've wanted to do in the past. It's just like my friend said, the success is not in because my goal was like to raise $10,000. It's like raising the $10,000 is not the success. The success is that you saw it through beginning to end.
Yeah, exactly.
And whatever fundraising happens, but the success is in you getting the thing done.
This is a job. This I don't look at it as I don't. This is a job. Like getting this together, getting it ready. I have to get the interview stuff together. I have to do the research, get the images. I got to do this. I got to post it on advertising.
It's a commitment.
Like and all of this is for something bigger, right? It's for something bigger. It's a prep you for something bigger, And a lot of people hit me up and to do shows. I'm gonna put some stuff on Roku TV. I'm going to do some, a couple of ads on that soon. I have an A&R person who helps me out with everything. Her name is Julie on the record communications.
Okay.
So she's good at social media. Awesome. I mean, Julie, could you do me a favor? Could you set this up for me? Oh, I know. Could you do it? She does the tech stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's fun. We have a good little squad, and we kind of like I just see us being bigger, right? And because the people that are coming to us is like people that can move us forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to be to when I meet people. I want to can I help move forward. That's what I want to be because there's enough room for everybody. And
Absolutely.
And then people want to see. They want good music, good films, good filmmaking, right? And it's fun. And like I said, the world belongs to the creators. Right?
They want to see themselves in the art, whatever it is, whether it's a song that describes how they feel when they're in love with someone, whether it's a movie that says, "Oh, I grew up like that," whether it's, you know what I'm saying, a skit that they find funny because they know somebody who's just like that or they've been through that. People want to see themselves.
She's an actress. She plays in the 3 movies already with Vivica Fox.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's an actress. She's either, you know, it's you can do, you just gotta try to understand the channels to get it out there. You know what I mean? And
you gotta have, my advice to people too, just going back to what the challenges are, everybody wants to get paid from their art.
Right.
Like that's the goal, is to get paid from your art. But you're gonna have, and this is not just for artists, it's just a smart thing in general to have multiple streams of income. You gotta have another hustle, you gotta have something else that's bringing in money so that when those dry seasons come, you have something else to pivot to. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, until you can let those things go. And there are stories of actors who have kept their day jobs till the last minute because you just don't know how long a show is going to last.
Morgan Freeman, is it.
They said there was one lady on Grey's Anatomy who was coming on set and going to the bank and working her day job. She was like, I don't know how long this Grey's Anatomy is on its like 25th season, but she just was like, I depend on that steady check. You see what I'm saying? And so that would just be my advice. Put the work out there, but I want to make sure to manage people's expectations of being able to take care of themselves full time. On earth, on art. That's not going to happen overnight. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because, you hear about people, the guy who played Elvin on The Cosby Show went through his rough patch. They're saying Rondell Sheridan, the guy who played the dad on That's So Raven, he's in the hospital with a GoFundMe. Like, people you've seen consistently on TV are still having issues financially.
And
so
that's why I don't judge anybody. Because
not at all. Not at all. Because those checks aren't what y'all think they are. You know what I mean? And even when they are what you think they are, if you get them for 12 months and then you don't get them for 2 years, like that money is only going to last you for so long. So
this stuff is real, and it's
people are working actors, stressed on working, meaning I got to keep working to pay my bills. There's only a small select few that are in that upper echelon that just get $20 million of film or whatever the case might be. So, and then even to Taraji P. Henson's point, when she was talking about The Color Purple, you might make $100,000 on a gig, but there's federal taxes, state taxes, 20% of it's going to your agent off rip. Then don't have a manager and a glam squad, and you got to pay for somebody to, drive you around. There's expenses that come with that one lump sum check, and you done whittled yourself down to maybe $30,000, $50,000. You know what I mean? Or no, off 100,000, you might whittle yourself down to 30. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, how many of us live off $30,000?
Yeah, you can't. It's tough. You can't pay, if you get rent at $2,000 a month, right?
Right. Listen, I'm not good at math, but it don't sound like 30,000 gonna last you very long.
It's not gonna last because the rents are, especially. I'm not going to even say actors and actresses. It's for singers too. Like it's the expenses to live in New York. I don't know how they do it. Right? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and you need.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, it's just a lot of money. It's just a lot of money, and sometimes, like what you have to do. You just like you say, you have to hustle. You gotta have. Look, you got to work longer hours. If you want it, this is what it is. This is just what it is. You got to have, you have to do a side hustle. You have to do this. You have to do that. It's about, you know what?
You have to determine whether you want to pay your bills with your art or whether you want to be famous. And I think a lot of people confuse the two. The average income in America is what, $50,000? So if you can make $50,000 doing gigs by singing at different clubs or doing opening act as different concerts and festivals and stuff, you win.
Right.
Because you're doing what you love and you're paying your bills. Now you might want more than $50,000 a year because that's average, but again, do you want Beyonce level fame? That's a whole different thing. And we've seen it over and over again. You could probably attest to this more so than I can. and I'm gonna let you go because I could talk all night. But
It's
the
okay.
number of people who had the fame and didn't have the money.
Right.
The TLC, the Tony Braxton, the you know what I'm saying? The ones that had the fame but then ended up bankrupt or broke. So the New Edition, they didn't start making money till any heartbreak. And they had been in the business since they were
When
15.
I saw the young lady from In Vogue, the one that was like, she was, I think homeless or something like that, and I
I
didn't
think
notice.
that's a choice. I think she's living in a van
Oh
by
yeah,
choice.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
a whole community around that. But still,
yeah,
you know what I mean? The fact
yeah.
that she would even have to make that choice is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why I said with this business, kind of like it's I see a I see a bright future for people though. I just stick with your arts, you know, invest into yourself,
Yes.
right? Keep your expenses low,
Yes.
right? So barter, right? You got to barter. Okay, I come on your show, or I'll do your song, but you have to do my
Yes.
song. Work together. I think the community, the TikTok, if anything, TikTok has shown us, right? If
You
TikTok,
preaching. You
if anything
preaching.
showed us is that this is a very good um, um, app for you to build community.
Yes.
It has showed us that once they leave, right? Once let's say it leaves, it happens again, can stay in contact with other, you got other apps. You got a lot of other resources, not resources. I'm sorry, apps that you can build on. Instagram is not too bad. Um, Facebook, I just not a Facebook person. I can't. I just know it's not. I'm not. The Facebook is cool for family and stuff like that. That's how it is. It's just for family and staying in touch. But
Yeah.
because it didn't. To me, in my opinion, it just didn't. Um, I guess they can't. That's what Instagram is for. They're
I
not.
think they transitioned and
Yeah,
started adding a lot of the
yeah,
features of the
yeah,
other apps
yeah,
when it was too late. So now you got reels and stories and stuff
yeah.
over
So that's
there. And
why
it's like it's too late because I'm already doing that over here.
right.
Yeah.
This is to me the best um, um, app option, right?
Yep.
Because number one, the live is bar. No one can compare to the live. You can't.
Yes.
No other app can compare to this. And,
Right.
I'm not going to say the name of some of the apps, but
No, I
one
get it.
I'm very. I thought I was going to like, but I become disappointed.
I'm gonna inbox you and ask you which one that is.
Yeah, I'd let you know. But I just kind of I didn't because it's like now it's been a few months now, and I'm looking at this app and I'm trying to see how to build the followers. It's like not enough investment. You have to invest in showing people how to get followers in that app. You have to. And Instagram is doing better now because they got to compete with TikTok, right? Lemonade I don't like, but I'm not. I like them, but I don't like them. I like them, but I don't like them. Right.
Each one, I think my daughter and I were talking about this where I feel like they're all trying to be each other. And I
Right.
don't like that because I liked the distinction of, one was about your thoughts and, like you said, a place where friends and family can come and get updates on your life. And then one, I don't care about what you think, just show me your life in pictures.
Right.
And
Right.
then one was, cutesy little lip syncing
Right.
and dance moves and, a way to sell products. And then one might be like have a live feature and one, you see what I'm saying? Like they all had a distinct
Yeah.
purpose. Now all of them have reels,
Yeah.
all of them have stories, all of them have a live feature. And it's like, well, why am I on 3 or 4 different apps that all seem to do the same?
The best one is, in my opinion, is here.
And it took me so long to get over here.
Yeah.
Look, now that I'm here, I'm like, yes. The live feature really
It's
has
awesome.
done it for me.
TikTok Live is awesome. And now you learn it, and you're like, wow. And I really like it because because I can do this. It's nice. It's
Yeah.
easy to set up. I'm getting used to it. I get a couple.
I think for me, like I said, I notice that I meet new people and every time I go live, I'll gain 5, 10, 20 new followers. And so to see that consistent growth of people and then I love seeing my regulars. Like I love seeing Sophie come in here, the Vinyl Countdown. He might be in here, Teflon Rob. Like there's certain people, you see their name, you're like, oh my God, it's my friend. Hey. So you build literally a relationship with these people because every time you go live, you see them. I have a friend, Eric. He comes in, Civil War is my moderator. He kicks them out when they start talking about me. So yeah, you talk about building community. That's basically
that's awesome. But thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
I'll be in your DM, respectfully.
Say it again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say it again.
I said I'll be in your DMs.
Oh, no, that's cool. That's
respectfully.
That's cool.
Have a great night. Thank you so much for having me. Good night, everybody.
Well, that's Millie M.
Millie M.
All right, then. I'll talk to you. Let me know about the artist too, okay?
For sure.
All right. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.